Welcome to the Ditch the Struggle podcast. I'm your host, Alana Rosso. I'm a graphic designer turned career and success coach who knew I could do better, but kept falling short of where I wanted to go. But after years of exploring personal and career development, business, money mindset, and energy work, I'm here to tell you that yes, you can move from stuck and defeated to empowered and confident. Ready to dive in? Awesome. Together, let's ditch the struggle. Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I want to share a little practice that I've been doing for a couple of years. And actually it's been inspired by Declan, my husband. He really flies under the radar. He's a quiet behind the scenes guy. He's not on social media at all, hates all that stuff. So I don't talk too much about him and his stories, but he's really into this kind of work. He loves personal development work, supports all this stuff that I do. Hyper aware, very intuitive, and I'm just going to share this little practice that he has been doing. Well, he was doing it, and then I started doing it, and I think it's just such a sweet practice. It's free, which is amazing, and it's about connecting back to nature, which I think is the most important thing that we need to do, especially right now. The world is banana town, as I have said, and connecting back to our roots, nature, I think these things are incredibly important. And if you don't like this specific idea, you can take something from it or some inspiration from it or make it your own. What I really want to do is just encourage people to connect to nature and also connect to that state of gratitude. So how this came about was a lot of times I do a 6-kilometer walk with Declan. Well, right now I'm not doing it a lot, right, because of a little bit of an injury, but we often do a 6-kilometer walk, which is through some amazing parks, because the one thing I will say about Toronto is that it has amazing parks, even if you're downtown, and I'm not really team Toronto right now, but I love that you can go anywhere and get into a beautiful park. And when we were on one of our walks one day, Declan was kind of reaching up to trees as we were on the walk and just kind of grazing leaves on trees. Like he'd randomly pick a tree and just like hold not the branch, but hold a leaf for maybe a second and then move on, and kind of kept walking. And I was like, what are you doing? And he says, I'm thanking the trees. So he would just pick trees at random or ones that he liked. And he kind of has a few favorites. We're both really into trees. And he just reaches up, grabs a leaf as he's walking by and says, thank you to the tree. And I just thought this was so sweet and such a lovely act of gratitude. And, you know, I see trees as they are these living, breathing, amazing structures. And my favorite hobby right now is basically staring at trees. Like, this is what I do. I really need to that connection and the grounding. And mature trees in particular are just so healing for me. So I just noticed that he was doing this thing with the trees, and now we have adopted it. We both go on our walks, sometimes together, sometimes alone, and we will reach up to trees, certain leaves, and just say thank you. And sometimes I actually hang on to the leaf for a little longer. So this, of course, is getting into that state of gratitude. Now, you can have gratitude for anything. You do not have to stop at the trees. You can go to the flowers and do all the things. But that conscious intention of gratitude while you are out and about, I just think is kind of magical. And I think it's these small things that we need to do to help heal ourselves, to connect back to nature, which then grounds us. And the term grounding is something that's used like a lot. I don't know if everyone knows what that means. And it's really like having your body, mind, and spirit connected to the earth. Because if you're just flying around, stressed out in beta mode with your brain waves going crazy all day, you will be in a state of chaos, your cortisol spikes, all these things happen. So we need to ground ourselves. And we can do that with, literally putting your bare feet on the ground, going into nature. Certain crystals can help with that as well. It's really that space of being connected and in your body and your mind isn't going a mile a minute. Those are kind of like the things I think about when I think about grounding. And I have a whole grounding practice that I do in the morning. I actually will go out barefoot into the garden as long as I can because we're in Canada, and have that time connected to the earth physically. But even if you can't do that because you live in an apartment or it's always snowing where you are, you can certainly start physically connecting to nature. And this to me was just such a great, and it is such a great small little practice. So you go on your walk, whatever tree speaks to you, taking a leaf, touching it, and just saying thank you. And if you want to hang out there, you can. Sometimes I will hang out. So I'm not saying you actually have to hug a tree. However, tree hugging has been something that has been done throughout history. And there are some cool studies that I've read where if you hug a tree, it does reduce your cortisol. I think you have to do it for 21 seconds. There's some magical things that happen. And so it's not just for hippies. It is not woo-woo. Don't even get me started on that term. So many of these terms that are about connecting to nature are now derogatory in their nature. So these phrases that make fun of people who want to connect to nature, who want to be in that space. And that really kind of pisses me off, actually. It's like, why is it weird? And so I personally don't care when people see me maybe hanging on to a leaf. For one thing, I'm not easily embarrassed. So I need to put that out there. I think I care less about what other people think in those situations. I just wouldn't be embarrassed or self-conscious. So going back to this idea of simply connecting with nature on a daily basis, for me, what has happened is that I do definitely feel more grounded, and that piece of your heart that gets closed off because you've had a hard day, so much going on in the world that's so upsetting, all of that, it does melt away a little bit, just a little bit. And the one thing that Declan has noticed is that when I do a morning walk every day, which I just do my 2-kilometer walk right now, and he says, I'm so much more grounded. I'm just more even keeled. I'm just more stable, more emotionally stable and happier. And so part of my morning walk, in addition to just getting my butt in gear and going out there, is connecting to the trees, thanking the trees, and appreciating what they're doing, because I am not going to go into the whole science because I really can't explain it. That's not my domain of what they're doing to our beautiful earth, but it's incredible. So I just wanted to give you this little free practice to consider doing. And if you see me on a walk and I'm holding on to leaves and just sitting there I often also will just put my palm on a tree trunk for a while. So I'm not necessarily fully hugging it, but I will hold my hand there and just have appreciation for it. There's so much strength in trees, and we all need strength right now. We all need, that kind of stoic energy that a tree brings. And I think thanking the trees is an incredible, simple practice that has had a really positive effect on my life. So I'm very thankful to Declan for bringing this to my attention. And he just got the idea one day, without even thinking about it. He just started doing it. And I absolutely love when we start doing things like that. We just one day are like, oh, I'm just going to do this. We don't even think it through, because that's when it's just something that's meant to happen or meant to come through you. So he is meant to thank the trees. He's meant to start that little practice. Maybe we'll have a little movement of tree thanking and just get out there, go thank your tree, appreciate what it's bringing to the world. And you can bring that gratitude also back to yourself for getting out there in nature and appreciating that you are also appreciating nature. Take care, guys. Thank you for joining me today on Ditch the Struggle. You showing up here means so, so much to me. To dig deeper into the topics discussed today and to learn about my work, visit alanarosa.com. And don't forget to download your free resources while you're there. And if this episode resonated with you, please share with others who also want to ditch the struggle. Go ahead and subscribe to the podcast, leave a rating and a review, and let me know what you'd like to see more of on this podcast. And before I go, I want to leave you with my 3 favorite ways to ditch the struggle. Be your own best advocate, take baby steps for the win, and forget about a linear career path. It's overrated and you are doing just fine. See you next time.